Again, it's Elisabeth here. Welcome to my paper crafting YouTube channel. To make a 12 days of Christmas decorative bauble, I use the 12 by 12 papers from Craft Consortium, the new 12 days of Christmas decorative papers, and the tartan papers that were so popular in 2022. This is a pre-cut MDF bauble. This particular one is from Anna Marie Designs, but you can find alternatives online. I've got some of the Craft Consortium silver embellishments, so I'm going to be using the Noel and the Circus ones. I've got a choice of ribbons to hang the bauble from. I needed a piece of vellum or greaseproof paper to make a template, and then to edge I used the Wilted Violet Distress Oxide, and I've got some green eyelets for the top of the baubles. I'm going to start by choosing my piece of design paper. I want quite an open design. This one will work quite well. I think for the decor that I'm going to use, I want it to be quite festive. I'll take one of these pieces. So we could go white, but I think Christmas is more of these regal colours. So I want to incorporate one of these designs here. So because I can't see, obviously, behind the piece of MDF, I have taken a piece of vellum and I've drawn myself a template. So once you've got your template, line it up to the part of the pattern that best suits you. I would quite like these turtle doves to be in the centre here, and then pop yourself down a little piece of tape just to hold it in place. And at this stage you can be thinking about how you're going to design this. So it's quite a good idea if you don't really know how you want the bauble or the MDF piece to come together. So I've got a die here that's got piece. So I'm thinking that once this is cut out, I will add piece on here. Or I might add one of the sentiment labels. And then I think I've got a piece of ribbon here at the centre. I might add my own bow here. So it's quite a nice way of deciding how in your mind you want the design to go. So let's go back to cutting this piece out. So to cut it out, I want to line up the bauble, and then I'm going to draw myself an edge like so. The reason why I'm not doing this on the back is because the design is not completely symmetrical. So I don't want the pattern to be on the reverse. So I'm cutting this around with about a ½ centimetre or a quarter of an inch border, because I'm going to sand this away. However, if you don't want to remove the paper by using your sandpaper or your emery board, then at this stage you need to cut exactly on the line and then rub away the pencil marks. So there we have our roughly cut bauble. And then we're going to adhere this to our MDF piece. I quite like using the Pinflair bookbinding glue. I usually have a tub that I use for MDF pieces, but I've run out of that, so I'm going to use the Stamperia Mixed Media Art, the heavy body gel paste, and then I know that this will give it a light coverage but securely hold it in place. So we want to make sure that we're going over the edge of the MDF piece. Managed to get a hair in there. It's pretty much covered. And I'm going to add the bauble centrally as we can. That works. And then push it down. And at this point, I would recommend leaving this to dry just for 5 minutes while you get your embellishments ready and you clean off your brush. I've got a couple of pieces of the Craft Consortium silver mirror card, and I'm going to see how the sentiments look cut out with the silver. It cuts out beautifully with the mirror card, because you can imagine that underneath there. And then we want to cut ourselves 2 or 3 layers. So I've got a collection of embellishments and I've pulled out a few. So I've got the wreath from last year's Noel. I've got some snowflakes from Snow. These are all previous Craft Consortium collections. I think the pine cones are from Woodland. And I'm imagining that I'm going to put maybe a trio of these hanging from the ribbon. And then I also want to pick the ribbon. So I've got my trusty sweetie jar of green ribbons. I save all of the pieces. I think I'm going to go tartan again. The green might work. Got more of a festive green there, but I quite like that tartan with the purple in. And what I think I'll do is I'll make a bow, and then we can have a piece hanging as well. I've got like a double bow there, and I always tweak it while it's on the main component. I think I might just put another wreath in there because I like the symmetry of it. Do something similar to that, and then I might even cut this out so that I've got a little bit of decoupage just to raise this design up. So here's our cutout. We'll use this part here. It's just a matter of fussy cutting out the area that you want. So all we'll need to do is to raise that up with a little bit of pin flare glue, and then the piece can sit in there like so, or even across there. We'll see when we come to stick it at the end. Away from the camera, I have stuck the sentiments together. I needed to look through my magnifying glass to do that because I'm long-sighted, so you can imagine that it's just a matter of sticking them together. And I have prepped the outside of this element by inking some of the wilted violet distress oxides around the edge, but I'll do the same on that for the bauble itself. So I think we're just about ready to put our bauble together. So I'm going to cut more closely this time to the edge of the bauble. And then we're going to go in with, I've got a craft emery board here, but I'm literally going to go around the edge. The core of this paper is white, so you get quite a nice distressed look to it, which I like. So there we pretty much have the bauble shape. I'm actually going to do the same again, bring in the tartan paper because I want to have a piece to neaten off the back. Got a piece of, see if this will fit. It will. This time I'm going to cut on the line because I don't want to have to sand down the front of the bauble because it might affect the front that I've already neatened up. I'm then going to spend a little bit of time rubbing away these pencil marks. And then I'm going to ink around both of the baubles with the wilted violet, just to hide the white edge. Now we want to add this extra little topper that we've made. So because I'm giving it a slight curve, rather than using sticky pad, I'm going to use the trusty Pinflair 3D glue gel just to hold that in place. So we definitely want to put it on the edges where the curve is. And then I'm going to put a larger piece in the centre just to hold it in place. Okay, so I'm going to add the piece to the lower part here, and the bow will sit here. But then I don't think that I'm actually going to end up putting these embellishments in. I think what I'll do is I'll put one of the embellishments like so, like this, or it might be the smaller one just on the top. But first I need to make a hole inside here for the ribbon. And take our trusty punch punch through. And it may well be that we can add a little eyelet, but my ones might be too small, but we'll have a look. Yeah, that will work. So let's see in action, and that's in place there. And the ribbon is going to sit like so. And the piece will sit on the bottom here. So we'll leave this to dry, and then we'll come back and we will stick the back of the bauble on, because I don't think I'll be adding any more to it because the ribbon will go through the hole. I'm going to stick these in place and then leave them to dry thoroughly, move on to another project. And then when I come back, I'll add the tartan paper to the back. Okay, so we'll add the piece in place, and then I'll cut away the extra ends once it's secure, tidy up the glue a little bit. This glue will dry clear, but because we're working with the mirror card, we want to take away as much of the excess as possible. And I will also use some glue gel to hold my bow in place. So we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll work on the back. You may be wondering why I didn't add the tartan paper straight away. It's because I like to tidy up my workings on the back, and I wasn't sure how I was going to adhere this piece of the ribbon. So this is how I work, but the next time I make one, I know that I can just stick front and back, decorate them both, and then add all of my embellishments on the front. But for now, we'll leave this to dry, go away and have a cup of tea, and then I will finish off the back. So here we have the finished piece. The back is decorated with the tartan, and I've added the eyelet to the top, some of the tartan ribbon running through it to match the bow with the silver Noel embellishment. The piece sentiment I cut from the ends, and then you can just about see the layered up central embellishment. So this could be used as a decorative festive piece in your own home, or of course you could give it as a beautiful handmade gift to a friend or family.